Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well. We wanted to put a little interview together because of the very exciting news that Umi is turning 10 years old this week. And for that, we decided to bring in two original Umiites right from the word go. And we thought we'd put together a few questions and have a chat about those very early days, hopefully with some fun anecdotes and to just have a bit of sentimentality and reflection on how far we've either gone up or down or left or right or whichever direction we seem to have gone. But I thought we'd firstly kick off with a question to you both of what do you remember doing on your first day working at Umi, or the first ever thing that you ever did with the company?
I think the first thing I remember, not necessarily the first day of work, but the first day of manual labour, where Steve and I turned up to the office where we'd had some IKEA furniture delivered. We sort of looked at it half-heartedly, attempted a little bit of construction with an Allen key, and then got our Swedish assistant to finish the job whilst we went and watched the football in the pub. Is that about right?
I remember it was Liverpool-Bolton. I even remember the match. We played football in the morning.
Yeah.
And we drove over to the office, and I think it was because we played football so well at such a high level that Sunday morning. We then had Domino's Pizza to try and get us some energy, but felt a little lethargic, and therefore delegated responsibility for the furniture. What was amazing is my now wife Linda managed to build a whole office in the time it took for Liverpool-Bolton match to start and finish.
Who won?
I think it was a draw, actually.
Okay.
Not very good at that time.
I think it's also worth saying that Linda did volunteer and insist that we get out of her way. So,
okay.
Do what you could have done.
Which we obliged.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And who was the first ever client you worked with?
The Lord's Hotel.
Yeah.
Which was next door to the Umi Hotel, the original Umi Hotel in London.
Well, if you rewind a little bit, yes, the Lord's Hotel was our first client, but we started out originally to basically do sort of marketing work for the Umi hotels. So but we weren't Umi Digital when we started. We weren't even Umi Marketing. We were HAI.
HAI, H-A-I, yeah.
Yeah, but we had a little bit of an issue to sort out with Mr. Branson, so we sort of backed out of that. And
I never knew that.
It was actually with Red Bull. So
was it?
applied for HAI, and you get HAI with Red Bull, and they threatened to sue us. I got a letter from Red Bull thinking it was a new client for the hotels, and it was actually a legal grid. So we even had posters done.
Oh wow!
Ocean in Chinese. That's why we chose that.
Ah, it's lucky there are a lot of words for ocean in Japanese and Chinese, aren't there? I feel like there was a good number of words to pivot to.
Like Eskimos and snow.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So what do you think the biggest changes that have happened over the last 10 years have been for Umi itself?
Waistlines.
Waistlines.
Hair. We've both grown our hair long. I think our average height has increased since Harry's joined.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think we've gone through I think a lot of companies have been through where is to find exactly where your sweet spot is, and ultimately Laurence and I both like helping people. Both of us are not very good at how you charge people if you're in an agency and you've got to charge for people you're helping, which we weren't good at the beginning. But I think we have developed both as people, but as a company, to still be really helping people and offering solutions that people need as opposed to things they don't. And I think we struggled for many years finding our true identity of what we were best at. but the core is our love of learning and helping, I think, which has always been the case. We've just done it slightly differently. I don't know.
And the fine art of not being a dick.
And the fine art of not being a dick, which can be a challenge. Loz, what do you think?
Sorry.
I didn't see.
Well, yeah, I think what was changed a lot. I mean, when we first started, we assumed that we were going to be doing a lot of sort of graphic-based design for people, which, you know, however long ago, 10 years ago, that's what people were asking for. But they were also saying, but how do you do that online stuff? Yeah. And so it very quickly turned into, you know, the majority of clients wanted websites and help with direct marketing, which is direct booking. So it, you know, when we sort of found our feet, it was clear that, you know, helping people become sort of more tech savvy and independent and guiding them through that journey and helping them learn. But yeah, and how we package that up and how we sort of help people do that and find our sweet spot, as you said, yeah, it's been a learning curve for that whole time.
For sure. Yeah. And what did you do on the first ever Christmas party? Coming up to Christmas now, and putting plans in place for a virtual one. But what did you do on the first ever Christmas party?
We broke hearts, is what we did. And Steve broke the seam of his trousers.
I did. I broke the seam. We joined the hotels for a bigger Christmas party, just Roz and I to start with, where it was we were dressed as Wham. Laurence went for the short shorts. I went for a pair of white trousers that arrived just before we went to the party and didn't really fit. And
where was the party?
At the Burns.
Okay.
And as I ate more Christmas turkey, unfortunately the seams of my pants ripped. Unfortunately, I had a spare pair of trousers with me, the jeans. But Laurence and I had our own little mini Christmas party, which was a late lunch at a curry house on Great Titchfield Street, and then I think to the Crown and Sceptre, which we only went to once in a while, but the Crown and Sceptre. So,
yeah.
Oh, nice. Fantastic. So was it, at that time it was just you two?
Yeah, we had a couple of from America, but they weren't around for Christmas party time.
How many interns do you think there's been at Umi over the years?
With Umi hotels included, I tried to count out, I think it's 175.
That's crazy.
Umi hotels launched in 2007, so 13 years, yeah. So we've helped them. You know, I'm in touch with still a lot of people. Bart, you know, who's an intern at the hotel in Brighton in 2009, January 2009, who worked with Loz back then. You know, he's got a very successful business over in the Netherlands. I'm still in touch with Amanda, who was our first digital intern. I actually saw when I was in Berkeley a couple of years ago. We went and had quite to eat, which was bizarre, because she obviously Umi Digital then was completely different to now. But yeah, we've had a lot of really cool. Obviously, Mr. Fielder, originally an intern, who stalked me for a while.
I did stalk you for a long time.
But Umi, generally, when I set it up, was partly because when I was at university, I couldn't find an internship that allowed me to do stuff, and we've continued to do that even now with virtual interns that you have.
Yeah. No, it's cool having. We've had a couple now. It's been really cool.
Yeah.
Well, just going back to like the first day though, I do remember that the amount of people we had outnumbered the amount of computers and chairs that we had.
Yes, yeah, we had one laptop between Laurence and I. We had two phones, two desk line phones, and we were sharing an office with Curb.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we got given the space underneath the stairs. Great for Laurence, not so good for my head.
No.
But,
were you sharing Liverpool mugs?
We had enough Liverpool mugs to go around.
Forcing the interns to drink from Liverpool mugs.
Yes.
What's been the most embarrassing moment of the whole of Umi for you?
Hang on. Didn't know we were going to ask this question. There's so many.
Well, I think, I don't know, our first big pitch that Laurence and I did
Oh.
was, well, you can explain about the presentation and the choice of colours, but I just remember we were like, there is no effing way that we can actually do this. And it was like a Bond movie. There was people from all over the world just before World Travel Market, all sat around a table in this stuffy boardroom, and Liverpool were playing Chelsea afterwards. And we were more keen on watching the Liverpool match. It was a really difficult pitch, but I don't know if it was embarrassing, but it felt quite
very intimidating. It was like a baptism of fire. Yeah, literally about 20 people around a big sort of boardroom table in a hotel suite, and we
sweat profusely.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh yes.
My heart was pumping out of my chest, and we prepared this slide deck, and my section was all about sort of some design do's and don'ts, and I put in it that white text on a black background was sort of difficult to read, and then I looked up at the slide. It was white text on a black background, but not as an example. That was the style of slide that we got.
And at that point, Laurence, it was about 30 seconds, so I was like, uh-oh, what are we going to do now? Yeah, so it was...
oh, did you win the pitch?
No.
We won the game.
We won the game.
Liverpool afterwards, Torres scored a hat-trick.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
I remember it was on. We went to a pub. We were running around afterwards. We didn't even talk about the pitch. We were like, no pubs have got this one. No pubs have got this. And we found one on Wigmore Street. I remember. So
I don't think there was a lot to be said about the pitch.
So what opposite pre-Barbican? Where were you based?
Great Titchfield Street.
Was it just? Did you just have the one place in Great Titchfield Street? So there for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you get your own laptop?
Well, we got. I managed to get a Mac, which I think we only recently got rid of.
Oh, the smaller one.
The small one, yeah.
Oh, we still got that.
Yeah, my mate from school posted on Facebook, shows how modern we were at the time, saying, I'm trying to get rid of this Mac. And I said, Loz, is this one okay? He goes, yeah, I think it'll be okay. And I asked what, it was all interestingly bought software on there. But we got that, and then we also ordered I think we managed to get like a business loan to do your supersized Mac, which means that
has been sold now.
Yeah, you can hide hungover in the corner.
I remember in Barbican when I first joined in 2013. That was your corner, and you could never see you because you were behind a 27-inch massive screen.
Yeah.
Laurence, is he in? Is he in? Oh yeah, he is. Yeah. That's finally gone, sadly.
But there was another embarrassing moment, which I remember, was when Laurence came in once and went, the Dropbox has gone. And I'd somehow managed to delete his account. And that's why I don't have access to anything anymore.
To this day, Steve is not allowed access to Dropbox. Oh dear, that was quite... I don't know, I don't think I was there then, but I remember... Was that in Barbican, I think you tried?
Yeah.
I think I vaguely remember the panic that ensued then. That was not a very good office for me because it was an attic office. That was lovely though. It got very hot.
It was an old paper mill. Yeah.
Yeah. The Wi-Fi was not great.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks with no Wi-Fi. Remember that? It's not good.
7 megabit internet with 10 people in there.
Yeah, that's when we did what is now normal work from home, but we did work from pub, which was interesting.
Work from pub. Do you remember when we went into that pub and managed to make a fire drop website within the space of an hour and sell it to the pub?
That was at the Shakespeare
That
Arms.
was in the Shakespeare Arms. That was quite fun. So what do you, if you were to do that first year again, what would you do differently?
Ooh, we were overly
Charge
generous.
more money.
No, I think we were overly generous with a lot of things, and I don't think we quite knew. Like even with the Lords, we did some amazing work for them. We did. I don't think we quite realised what we were doing. That was really good.
Having the confidence to sort of, we were doing a lot of things for free or sort of, yeah. It was about understanding what we were worth and what value we were providing.
Awesome. What do you think the biggest changes in the industry have been in the last 10 years? Like in the space that we're in?
I think there's more knowledge in the hotels. There's still terribly low level of knowledge. There's a lot more than there was 10 years ago. And I think the technology available to integrate with the sites is way better. But I think there's sometimes still the challenge of the value of what one does within digital marketing or design, that a lot of people don't quite realise the importance of it or the value of it. I think that's been a really big shift, but there's a lot more hoteliers now and in travel businesses that really do appreciate, good design, good technology, good conversion rates, which is important because that's ultimately what we're trying to sell and deliver.
What about in design and UX and stuff, Loz?
Well, I don't know if there's design and UX specifically, but I think if you look at the digital offering available to hotels, that they can own themselves, as opposed to, because when we started, it was the only way to sell your room was, or to market your room was through, an OTA. But if you now look at the comparison of what hotels can do on their own website, it's far greater, and therefore the expectation for what you can do grows. So it's about meeting those expectations and trying to do that at a profit for them. Increasing the conversions, essentially. So the industry themselves have become a lot more tech savvy, and sort of owning that ability themselves has meant that they're grown in knowledge a great deal, as have we.
You haven't grown that much though, Loz.
No, my hair has though.
Your hair has.
Lockdown.
Hair and beard.
Yeah, well, I shaved that yesterday, but there you go.
Oh, very trim. How long is it going to get, Loz? It's just going to keep going
until lockdown's over.
Are you going to wear? Are you wearing a hairband much?
I'm not. Now that it goes behind my ears, I don't need to wear the Alice band as much.
That's a good thing.
What are you talking about? The Alice band does a job. I've quite enjoyed that.
All right, Alice.
And what? So turn on you, Harry. What's your highlight been? What's the biggest achievement you think with Umi since you've been around?
Apart from meeting Steve and I.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I did pester you for a long time to get an internship, didn't I?
You did.
That was a very long time. I think there was probably a moment, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, where I think we sort of took stock, maybe 4 years ago, took stock and realised the value that I think we were delivering. And I think at that point we suddenly had the confidence to really go up against anyone and everyone. And I think that was very exciting. There was a very like specific moment where I feel like the quality of everything that we were doing and the results that we were getting suddenly made us think, hey, I think we've always perhaps seen ourselves as punching above our weight, and then there was a bit of a turning point which meant we were very rightfully in our space. And I don't know, do you see what I mean? I feel like there was There was a point, and that just comes with I guess a growing client base, a longer period of time, lots of more trust, hiring some great people. I think one of the proudest things for me is everyone that we've got with us now has kind of just grown so much within their role. They've probably joined us quite early on in their career, or early on in that part of their career. So like Michael shifting over into a development role, Locke shifting over into a development role, Dana having done her masters and going out into the sort of first big job. And it's just been really cool to see everyone coming from quite a kind of green background and growing into what they've done now. And that's probably the proudest. Yeah, I think that's probably the proudest thing. And I guess in the same way that which is all stemmed from that early notion of investing in young people.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the proudest thing.
Steve,
Launching gapyear.com was quite satisfying.
Launching what?
Launching gapyear.com was quite satisfying.
Oh yeah. Steve, what did you realize? Did you think you'd really made it when you got onto television? In what country was it?
It was Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Steve Lowy.
I still got the letter on Her Majesty's service that was left in my room. I was like, wow. And it was like, you're appearing on Trinidad and Tobago Breakfast TV. So
Can we put a link to that in the video?
I think we need to, yeah. Steve, your hair is probably about 17 times shorter.
I was my hair was shorter, but I was very jet lagged. So it was I was like, do you have coffee? They went, no, we have rum. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work.
Oh, okay.
I also think one of the big moments was, I think, for us, Harry, was the Stafford. When that was I think that point where we launched that, and that was a really proud moment. I think the people thing has always been a massive part as well. I think that Stafford first website was a real achievement, and I remember being at the WeWork in Aldgate Tower, doing all the redirects manually and everything else. It was such an achievement. When we started seeing the bookings come through, it was wonderful. Yeah. I think that.
And Connie from the Burns came over for a meeting, and we ended up just her slightly getting us our drinks from the WeWork tap.
It was just like, so many redirects. There was pages that we didn't even know existed that we had to that I thought was quite big. And obviously gapyear.com was pretty amazing. The trust that were putting us to do that was
and I like another thing I think with starting just with you two, the breadth of knowledge that you get across the board, that yes, we ultimately everyone becomes more specialized as the team grows, but the ability to really understand and empathize every single part of the business has been something that's I've always loved, and to know exactly what goes into every single step, and you can see the whole thing come together, not just seeing the whole company through a particular department or whatever. And I think starting small with just you two, and then I've kind of felt that as well.
Yeah,
that's quite fun.
I think we've all had to develop in more hybrid roles in terms of understanding different parts of Laurence came from design background, but then learn about marketing. In your view, Harry, was you did a bit of web development, but it was to understand the whole business, and also understand, because we specialize in a certain field, like understanding that customer and what their requirements are. It makes it a lot more enjoyable, because then you see the fruits of your labor afterwards. But at the beginning, SEO and AdWords was very manual, but actually quite simple, because a lot of people didn't understand it. But as it's become more technical, we've had to learn as a team, because it affects the way you design, the way that you bid for keywords, the way that you distribute. It's all changing. I think the fact that we've constantly tried to develop and learn has been so important, because ultimately you're only as good as the next Google update, and they happen way too often now. So
Oh, interesting. So having seen obviously where it's all come from, and see it grow and evolve over a decade. What are you most excited about the future, and Umi?
Retiring? No, no. You know what? I think having and unfortunately, I saw some news overnight about an agency in Manchester that's unfortunately gone into administration. The resilience we've shown over the last 10 years, ability to learn and develop, has been really, really important, and particularly in current times. So, going forwards, if we can develop further, I think doing really cool stuff like Virunga, more exciting projects that we're all proud of, not just from the design work or the marketing, the actual ethos behind that would be great. And I think if our team and new team members can develop as they have done over the last decade, would be a very proud achievement for me, but also I think probably for Laurence and as a brand going forwards.
Yeah, I think for me personally, obviously we talked about over the last 10 years how the technological digital offering has changed, and hotels now have got access to this digital technology and understanding it, and that's empowered them. I think where we're at now, and where we've sort of developed over the last few years is really in that sort of strategy, providing digital strategy and working with clients and giving them that knowledge to use on top of that digital platform, is to now really sort of grow their businesses with that knowledge. So I think with workshops and things like that, being able to sort of advance the way our clients play the game is going to be really exciting, and particularly in current situation where that flexibility is going to be really important in getting the industry back on its feet, creating and testing new ideas. I think working with our clients to do that and giving them the tools to do that is going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think a big change that I've seen in just 5 years has been 5 years ago. Agencies generally, 80% of what they were doing was design and build, and the real kind of grunt work, as it were, behind everything, right? There would just be a lot of design, a lot of building, a lot of content writing, etc. You fast forward to now, 20% of what an agency does is typically design and build, and 80% is, because it's so complicated now, as you were saying, Steve, SEO and PPC, and it requires so much more because it's so much more complicated. Agencies are kind of becoming that orchestrator, and so we're very much selling our brains and not our brawn, as it were. And I think that's an exciting prospect, because we've always had that. We've always had the real understanding of the industry. We've had some amazing people in the office, but I think the industry is very much sort of getting to a stage where they're putting a lot of value on that sort of the brains part, not the brawn part. Do you know what I mean? Because it's always sometimes being tricky, and that's the thing I've not enjoyed is if you're trying to construct this overarching strategy and program and everything, but you're only ever seen as the builder. Do you know what I mean? And I think the industry has is moving away from that, increasingly so, which is encouraging, and that's quite exciting for the future.
Does that mean you see me as the brawn then, Harry?
You're a prawn.
True.
You're a little pawn in my chess game, Laurence. No, I'm joking. You're a prawn, really. I don't know where to go from that. That's very hard to segue off prawns.
You can go lunch.
Huh?
I think this bit needs captions to specify exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
A Umi chat turning into waffle. How unusual.
This time, no beer.
Yeah. So.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah. This is tea in here. Tea.
Oh.
I just had a gin and tonic, so that was good. So
there we go. Excellent. Let's wrap it up there, I think. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure a handful of people might find that interesting. But no, it's great to hear some anecdotes. There were some things that I didn't know, so it's always good to know. Like, I didn't know the high marketing thing.
I think I've got a photo of the poster of me actually in China.
Okay.
Trying to launch. So yeah, I'll try and find that. But there are photos available of the original office.
There we are.
It's been we've known each other way longer than 10 years. It's actually 20 years now since we started uni.
Hey?
That's another interview.
We don't talk about that. Yeah, it's been a great show the last 10 years of it, and hopefully there'll be many more. And Harry, very proud of all the stuff you achieved as managing director, and I wish for much success in the future. But I have no doubt that you leading it will ensue. So
Well, that's very kind, sir. Good. All right. See you later, everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.